Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dal, and patch 11.2 is the big seasonal update, bringing with it a ton of endgame content changes. With that, delves are also getting a bit more improvements as part of the 11.2 update. From a brand new delve addition as part of the season, a brand new boss for us to fight, a return of Kaveza but in delve format as the boss for the season, as well as a bunch of season 3 rewards from delves exclusively. There's also going to be more delve conveniences added for players to be able to get back to delves and back to the main Dornagal area a lot easier through toys or various other means of transportation, but there's also going to be an opportunity for you to pick up any of the previous seasonal delve rewards as well, especially if you didn't play in previous seasons or maybe have dropped out at some point and are coming back as a returning player. Based on the data that we have, it seems that War Within delves have actually been fairly successful for a large number of players, especially those that are looking for some endgame solo content to progress through. So for those players in particular, it looks like you're getting additional content and improvements for yet another season within delves going forward. And hopefully they'll continue to iterate on this feature going forward, especially in expansions like Midnight, because I really think they have something special going here, and it potentially could be something really exciting for us to keep building on in the future. With that being said, I did want to dive into all of the content that we have so far to test out over for the patch 11.2, which isn't everything. There's still quite a lot more for delves coming out in the future, but for now, this is everything that we have from delves so far. As always, if you guys want to see more regular updates for the patch 11.2 War Within, be sure to follow the channel and subscribe. But otherwise, let's dive right in. Now, one of the more obvious new seasonal updates for delves will be a brand new delve edition of the Archival Assault. Though not necessarily really a new environment, rather it's Azure Vaults, the dungeon just repurposed into a delve, though it does seem like there are some extra additional rooms that have been added, so it's more like a modified Azure Vaults. Either way, the delve does mean new storylines for you to experience, either fighting a bunch of ethereals or fighting out blue dragons, but also the upgrades to some of the different treasures within the delves, some of the achievements from the delve as well, so just additional new content for Season 3. However, outside of a brand new delve, we also did have a general delve refresher that's going to be arriving as part of Season 3. One of those updates being the fact that you can now mouse over a delve and you can see the story variant of these delves ahead of time. In most cases, it just kind of gives you an idea of what some of the activities that you'll be doing in each delve, as each iteration or variation of a delve does come with its own little story, and the objectives are going to be story based as well. But for those of you that are trying to get all the achievements for delves, this is also going to make it a little bit easier for you to focus on the delves that have the storylines and the related achievements that you do require. Maybe those achievements are tied to some of the different treasures or some of the different experiences within those delves, so that is nice to see. Also, as you do a delve, sometimes you'll be able to find a brand new delve portals, which will either give you treasures or potentially summon Kaveza, the delve boss of the season, with a lot of Kaveza's original mechanics from Nerber Palace. Now, while you cannot really test Kaveza herself exactly in this delve, I'm assuming that that's supposed to be those encounters where Kaveza visits you are supposed to be, I imagine, very similar to when Underpin visits him, and should be able to drop you a map. Right now, whenever Kaveza does visit you, she doesn't, or rather a shadow of Kaveza visits you, it doesn't drop a map at the moment, so you can get a hero track item for now, but that will likely be something that will probably be updated over the next few weeks on the PTR. Outside of this, we also have a new nemesis with the delves being all ethereal based. So instead you have, instead of goblins, a bunch of various ethereals with their own sets of mechanics. And I haven't got to experience all of them just yet. They don't seem to be spawning as regularly outside of tier 11 delves, which all the PTR delves have been reset. So it takes a while for you to be able to farm up the tiers all the way up to 11 all over again. And I assume that with this Season 3 resets, there's going to be some new storylines for these delves. Kind of like when they added the Goblin storylines for a lot of the older delves. I imagine there's going to be an ethereal variation for delves as well. So a little bit of variety and replayability to some of the instances that you played multiple times over right now, but likely will be updated for Season 3 content. Also, as a bonus from the Reishi cloaks, which is the main major cloak that most players should be wearing, which I'm not wearing on my main character right now, but the Reishi wrap is going to be the artifact weapon, or rather the artifact cloak that every character gets access to, and over time you'll also be able to upgrade Reishi cloak with a variety of bonuses, providing it additional secondary stats, but also additional effects depending on your class, depending on your spec. And as you unlock these bonuses, one of these bonuses is actually going to be a delve bonus specifically, the Secret of the Depths, which allows you to enhance the powers of your ratio wraps, but also allows you to now access secret rooms within delves as well. And these secret rooms is something that you can somehow, some way, perchance stumble upon while you're out and about within a delve. These don't seem, at least right now in PTR, to appear as a regular content. It seems that sometimes whenever you're in a bountiful delves, these secret rooms appear once in a while. But it's essentially another way for you to be able to finish out a delve. So instead of fighting the final boss or the final objective of that delve, instead you can just kind of skip to this new end scenario of a delve that gives you a variety of different experiences for you to get through, but also very, very similar rewards. Now, every single one of these secret delve rooms can be either one of 5 rooms, though I could see them adding more rooms in the future. Right now, you can either get a dodgeball room where you have to dodge orbs and make it all the way to the end, so it's a bit of more of like almost like a Frogger platformer type of a puzzle thing. Then you also have a mixed spawn, which just throws in a bunch of delve enemies for you to defeat all the way to the end of the room. Invader Duo, which will spawn both Zekvir and Underpin for you to combat against at the same time, and if you can defeat both of them, you get through that room fairly quickly. There's also a boss rush which spawns 3 random delve bosses at the same time, so it gives you a bunch of different overlapping mechanics for you to fight through at the same time. Or a room just filled with ethereals, though it's a lot of ethereals that all hit generally pretty hard. It's just a bunch of Shadow Guard ethereals for you to get through, but if you can get through that room, then you get to the delves and the rewards of that delve. At the end of the room, within those secret delve rooms, the rewards are going to be like any other delve. So for whatever delve you were running, it's going to be the rewards of that delve, depending on the tier that you got in it. So if you're trying to do a tier 11, you're still going to get your Gilded Crest for the season. You're still going to be able to get your maximum track gear, and if you have any maps active, you're also going to be able to get hero track items. So it's just like a replacement room for replacement experience, but not necessarily a replacement for the rewards of that delve that you were just running. But I assume in the future it will likely have additional rewards, or maybe some sort of special unique rewards for completing those side secret rooms of delves, possibly even with additional cosmetics for you to earn for the season. Now, one of the features of the patch 11.2 is the fact that Tazavesh will be our operations hub during this zone, and this Tazavesh area will basically have everything you need from a brand new faction vendor with the renowned quartermaster of the ethereals, or the Koreshi, but also a bunch of other vendors and all the different things that you would need as kind of like our outpost or a frontal base of operation within this space ethereal zone. And part of this means that delvers will actually have access to delves from within Tazavesh as well. Very similar to how Mythic Clusters have their own portal room in Dornogal, delve players will be able to have their own portal room instead. That takes you to a number of places with its own portal technician as well, which has a brand similar hat look to it. We have normally what's supposed to be bountiful delves that are supposed to be here. Right now it's not bountiful. I think there's a bit of a desync on PTR, which will likely be resolved once it comes out to live, but essentially what these portals are supposed to do is take you directly to the bountiful delves that are active for the day, and as well as a portal that takes you directly to the delvers headquarters. I am not sure if at some point they'll add a portal from the headquarters to Tazavesh, to the portal room, or if this is just going to be another way for you to be able to travel here, I think from inside of the main Dornogal building area, which I'm assuming possibly within the main Dorn area there'll be the whole Foundation Hall. I think there's a portal there as well, but I wonder if they'll add an exclusive one for delvers just to be able to get to this room very, very quickly. But this is going to make a little bit of a convenience for delvers when it comes to getting from one delve to another. It allows you to primarily use Tazavesh as an actual base of operation to get to all of your delve needs fairly quickly, which is a really, really nice convenience overall. Another unique feature they're adding to delves is actually memories, or rather memories of various quotes from, I guess, the big wigs, the big bosses, the big bads of previous expansions that you can leave for players to find. To me, while this feature isn't really ready for testing at the moment, it very much sounds like how you can leave messages for other players within games like Dark Souls, for instance. You basically are going to be able to leave memories within delves for other players to discover. So it's a very interesting feature that they're adding. Again, not really something that we can actually properly test at the moment. I think it's just them trying to find new ways for players to add little doodads for other players to discover, because delves just feel like such instance content. I think this is used to add some form of social interaction, but they want to find ways for players to be able to relay messages from one to another. I think it'd be kind of fun if you could, let's say, find a really hard rare within a really high tier delve and put a message like "you're not prepared" in front of it, just in case, like, let's say you had a really hard time with a mini boss, and then you're just leaving that message for other players. Definitely a unique feature that hopefully we'll see some more testing in the future. However, what is somewhat ready for testing are the rewards that will be available from delves, specifically from the new vendors. While the delve system and features is something we can't really go and unlock at the moment, we can preview some of the rewards that all the vendors will have, with Reno Jackson containing new Season 3 rewards. A lot of them being upgrades for a new variation of a Delver's Mount, which you can actually see outside of the main delve area. There's going to be a new delve variation, Delver's Mana Skimmer, and some of the different customizations that you can add for this mount, which this one looks like the base version, very much like the Delver's original mount. However, on the opposite side, we have a full, just suited up, souped up, ethereal looking Delver's mount. And I assume something like this will be also made available when you're fighting the mini boss or the delve boss for the season. Something that maybe looks like this, but maybe a lot more voidy or a lot more ethereal looking. Outside of this, Reno Jackson also has 2 more toys for you to obtain. One that teleports you directly back to Dornagal on a 2-hour cooldown. So in a way, you could think of it as a Hearthstone that takes you directly to Dornagal, which I think is going to be really awesome. I really wish they had more of these type of Hearthstone type of toys that took you to places rather than to an inn that you're locked out on. Like when we had Covenants back in Shadowlands, it would have been nice if you could have a Hearthstone that teleports you to the main base of operation for all the main Covenants. But they have one of these for Dornagal main delve area. Then there's also a ethereal brand morpher, which allows you to summon an ethereal transmorpher to change your appearance for 20 minutes. So if you haven't bought that one toy from the trading post that allows you to change the transmog of your character anytime you want to, this is going to be another opportunity, and doesn't even cost that much resonance crystals. You will just need to advance through the Delver's journey for the season. Otherwise, Reno Jackson is going to have the rewards from all the other previous seasons of Delves, though they are going to be a little bit more costly. But if you missed out on any of those rewards but are coming back for Season 3, this will be an opportunity for you to obtain all of these items. Sir-Friendly Murgleton has another assortment of items, also Season 3 Delve items, but also some of the older items as well. So you'll have some of the different schematics for the mounts. You can also place down a Shrieker Quartz, which is able to activate a Restoration Stone within a Delve. This will summon the Nemesis to the location, so very similar how you can summon the Underpin. You'll also be able to summon a Shade of Kaveza in here. And we have a variation of some of the different items that you could obtain from Season 2 Delves, but also some of the new stuff from Season 3, such as a brand new seasonal visor. Then there's also a new set of seasonal cloaks that you will be able to unlock as well. Plus also some of the older items like Delwabot, Spotlight Materializer, as well as armor sets from Season 2 Delves and even Season 1 Delves for you to obtain. So if you missed out on any of these armor sets, you'll still be able to purchase them with the Undercoins as the currency that you can obtain from Delves, including the weapons from Season 1 as well as Season 2, as well as all of the veteran track gear, which will take a little bit of time to progress to Delver's journey before you can purchase. This stuff is really nice as alt gear. I really hope they end up enabling this maybe a little bit earlier, because I think buying some of the veteran track gear for some fresh new old characters actually may not be good. The problem is we'll unlock a majority of these items usually towards the tail end of the season, and by then we usually have other avenues of champion track gear that you can easily farm without you necessarily having to spend any undercoins for any alts. So hopefully that'll become enabled just a little bit earlier into the season. You also may have noticed there's actually a faction flag available for the Delves as well, as it looks like they're adding some sort of a faction type of a system for Delves. They're not adding PvP in Delves specifically, but they're adding a little bit of a challenge for both factions to complete. Essentially, as you complete Delves for one faction or another, you'll get to fill out the bar for the season. And once that bar reaches 100%, every player of that faction will receive a new recolor of the original Delver's Mount. There's one variation for Alliance and one variation for the Horde. So it adds a little bit of this faction competition without necessarily having to fight each other, but it's a faction competition that you can experience while out in the open world, which is pretty awesome, honestly. However, we still have even more information regarding Delves to come in the future. First of all, we haven't really got to take a look at Bran as well as some of the customizations that he can get in the season or the curios because they're not available for PTR testing as of this moment. So most likely we'll be able to see how Bran is going to evolve as our companion for another season within Delves, and hopefully they'll add us a variation of Bran that can tank for DPS classes in particular. While he does work okay as a healer, I heard a lot of players asking if there's an opportunity to make Bran a bit better of a tank as a DPS class, just so you have somebody who draw aggro away from you, because the healer variation of Bran sometimes can be a little bit too slow with some of the heals, and at some points can feel not really all that consistent. While as a DPS brand, synergizing with tanks feels amazing, and even the tank brand with healers does also feel really good. The healer brand feels like it has been falling behind a little bit and may need a bit more support in the future for DPS classes. Also, we don't really know what the rewards are for Cabeza, the final boss of the Delve Season 3 either, though that'll likely not be something that we'll be able to test at any point throughout PTR. This will likely be something that we'll be able to experience once the content is made available, once patch 11.2 is finally live, and once we're able to unlock the Cabeza mini boss fight. So it's probably going to take us a little bit of time until we actually get to see what are some of the rewards from that boss are going to be, but there'll likely be a bunch of different toys, maybe unique back piece cosmetics or armor cosmetics, likely a new variation of the Delver's mount, which is something that's typical for some of the other previous bosses, as well as maybe some sort of a seasonal reward from it as well. So it's definitely something for us to look forward to, but not something that we can take a look at as of this moment. But with that being said, it does seem like Delve players have quite a bit to look forward to when it comes to patch 11.2. With that, as always, I do want to thank all of you guys so much for watching, and I hope you guys did enjoy the video. If you guys did enjoy this update or found it informative, go ahead and give it a like. I would very much appreciate it. Definitely every single like helps my videos reach a lot more players, so this would help me out directly. Also, join our Discord community, especially if you want to keep up with any major new updates regarding patch 11.2. The community usually gets in discussions around every new thing pretty regularly. Also, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and as always, I'll see all of you guys in the next one.